Well, good morning, greetings from Panama. Everybody, it's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm seeing some familiar faces that have been participating in the leadership seminar training in the past that have been invited. So it's a pleasure to me to be this morning with you guys. I'm talking about this specific subject who actually linked it very well with the previous presentation. Something that is important is that how we can get together to have a strategic plan for our club. And the first thing I like to do is trying to explain you all guys why it's important to have a plan. Because it's the only way that we can fulfill the vision. And it's the only way that we need where to go and how to go and what the goals and the measurements, strategic following steps that we want to make sure to have the goals. So I like to start sharing the vision, and I like to ask somebody from the audience, let's say if Guadalupe is with us already back. Guadalupe, you here? So can you help me reading the Rotary vision, please? Hello, Guadalupe. Or maybe Victor Usher. Victor, are you with us? Can you help me with this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Together we see a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change across the globe, in our communities and in ourselves.
Thanks, Victor. And it's very important that we understand the vision and we share the vision and we understand the vision, because it's the base of where our strategic planning it should be based on. So let's talk a little bit about the core values, the fundamentals of the club. Ian, can you help me explain the main core values that we have? Or Karen? Karen, are you with us, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. Can you help me explain a little bit the 4 or 5 major core values that we share in Rotary?
Fellowship, integrity, diversity, leadership, and service.
Thank you very much. Yes, that indeed is the main core values, and friendship is part of the core values also too. So let me share with you some short video about the Rotary Action Plan, which is actually the base for the strategic planning.
We are people of action.
And when there's a challenge to confront, people of action come together and make a plan.
Even as we continue to help address global challenges, we're facing one of our own. When Rotary surveyed people around the world, we found a big gap between who we are as an organization today and who we need and want to be.
Our foundation is strong, but Rotary is ready to show that we can grow and become even stronger.
So we established our new action plan as a roadmap for how we can think differently, be more inclusive, become stronger, more effective Rotary.
The plan has 4 priorities. We're going to increase our impact because now more than ever, the world needs innovative planning and improved solutions. We'll be more data-driven, not just serving communities and doing good work, but measuring what we do so we can scale up our successes and share more compelling stories about the good we do.
We'll expand our reach by welcoming new people into Rotary and finding new ways to connect with people who share our commitment to making our communities and ourselves better. We'll enhance participant engagement by making sure everyone who connects with us gets even more out of their experiences than they put in.
We'll increase our ability to adapt, because staying ahead of change while staying true to who we are is exactly how we make sure we have the staying power it takes to lead a new century of change.
Rotary's action plan is ambitious, but we can do it.
If we work together on new ways to think, plan, and take action, we will bring our communities and our organization to new heights.
Our legacy is in the making. Ready to do your part?
Let's show the world what it means to be people of action.
We
Okay, thank you for watching the video. Let's summarize some of the major topics of the action plan. The first goal of the action plan is to increase our impact. That means to leverage and keep pushing very hard to complete the eradication polio and build our club and our foundation, our image on the legacy of such a huge achievement who has provided benefit for all these kids that has been prevented. Under this increase our impact also, we have to focus on our programs and specific orientations that we have. And also, we have to improve our ability to achieve and measure our impact, because sometimes we do a lot of campaigns and efforts and projects and we don't really measure what we're achieving, what we're getting. Okay, the second goal of the action plan, Rotary action plan, is expand our reach. I like to ask somebody from the audience to explain me how you think we can expand our reach on this. Let's see if Guillermo is with us.
Yes, I'm here.
Hello, Guillermo. Good morning. Can you explain us or help me to explain the audience? What's your understanding on this priority on expanding our reach? How can we achieve that in our clubs and district?
Well, I think it's very important for us to expand our reach. Like how you rightly said in the presentation, it will help us to grow, and to bring other perspective of how to increase our membership and how to, develop all the projects that we have. So the more people bring, the more ideas we have and we garner so that we can grow.
Yes, thank you, Guillermo. Very well. Yes, actually, I would like to share some ideas of this, how we implement this of expand our reach. Well, definitely one that is very important is grow the diversity of the clubs. Make sure that the club is reaching all the community, all the sectors, that we have both a good balance between male and female members, that we have a good mix of different professions, not only having a club of only lawyers or only doctors, having a club with young people, promoting and the Rotaracts and the Interacts as the young people to reach and going into the other communities, expanding the number of clubs through the satellite clubs, which is a more flexible and more easy way to create. Then the third priority on the action plan is the improved participation and engagement. And this is very important, but one thing that we have found in the past, and I like to express this and then ask a question to the audience. What's the percentage of real participation of club members into the activities? This has been a very, very strong issue in Rotary in the past. We have clubs where only 20 or 25% of the people is really involved in the projects, leading in the projects, going to the communities, and the rest only come to the social activities, if so. So let's exchange some ideas about this. Norma Elizabeth, can you help me on giving some ideas as what's the situation in your club, your district, how involved are the members in the participation, and what ideas can we use to improve that? Norma? Or
Hi, good morning.
good morning, Norma. My
Lo
question.
que en inglés, the question is, what can our club do to participate or to engage into different projects?
No, the question is what to do in order to get the members of the
More
club
engaged.
really involved and participating?
Well, that's a good question as well. As for me, as a new member,
Oh,
it's communication. It's very important as long as we put our point through and what is basically our own goal and participating as members and what our priority is as a Rotarian and as a member. And wow, I could.
Let me help you. First, let me congratulate you for joining Rotary as a new member. I'm glad to see new members participate in the seminar. One of the things that I was referring, maybe the question was unfair for you because you are a new member.
Yes.
There was a referring is that the clubs needs to improve this engagement. Engagement means that if we have 50 members, the ideal goal is to have all 50 members participating at least in one or two of the service projects participating into the communities. So we have to improve this through finding the right place for each member. If I always use this example in these type of seminars, maybe there is somebody who is a golf player. Well, maybe he can organize a golf tournament for fundraising for our club. Maybe we have a member which is a lawyer, maybe so he can help us supporting in some of the club projects where legal assistance is needed. That's what we mean, that we have to work together in the club to find a right place to all of the members so everybody is participating on their area of expertise or prefer. So let's move with the priority force, which I think is also a big challenge for Rotary. And it's how to increase our adaptability, how to develop that resilience that is needed today in order to adapt and transform this organization. So let's see if John McCann, I guess it is. John, can you explain a little bit what the challenges we're facing in Rotary in order to have this ability to adapt and transform? And I think John is not a new member, right?
No, I'm on the line.
I know. You see you, John.
Our club, there's a big challenge in adapting today. The biggest problem we had in the past two presidencies dealt with COVID that restricted our ability to engage the community. This year is the first year we've been able to actually become fully engaged in our community. And we've been engaged within the poor districts. We've been engaged in areas with the local government here in Boquete. We've been able to engage them in projects of environmental need, establishing recycle bins. So engagement takes many forms, and you have to reach out to people to get them engaged with you. Our club has become more adept at that. We've been expanding our membership over what it used to be. Jose, before I started, we had 21 members. Now we're up to, I think, 40 members. And we want to keep growing the club because we found the more people we bring in, the more we're capable of doing. We can expand the goals that we set up. We become more involved, I think, within ourselves because when you have too few people doing too much work, they lose interest or they leave. We're trying to encourage all the members, as you said, to become engaged. We have older members that want to sit in the background, but we're finding things for them to do, even if they're sitting home at their computer. So getting involved is very important.
Yes, thank you, John. And I think even this seminar is a good example of the ability that Rotary and our district is having to adapt. I remember many years ago, we only had the Rotary District Conference in Spanish. We had already bilingual clubs in 4240 and of course in 4250, they always have it. And we as organization are adapting to embrace those people who doesn't speak Spanish, which is the main language of the clubs, and having bilingual activities and simultaneous translations. We have adapted to live and survive through the COVID with the Zoom for the clubs. So that's a typical idea, but also we need to understand that the environment has changed. And today, Rotary is competing in a good sense against other organizations like Kiwanis and Leones and the Lion Club and Kiwanis, and competing against the several ONGs that are looking for money and people to support the project. So we need to learn how to do that, how to be flexible, how to create alliances and make partnerships. So now let's start focusing on what I call the 4 steps of the strategic planning process. And this is very, very important that we focus on this in our clubs. And it's very easy 4 steps process that we should follow in each club. The first one is understand the current situation on the club. Seems to be obvious, but sometimes we are not really understanding the situation of the club, talking in terms of membership, for instance. Do we know the numbers of the club? Not only that we are 40, 50, or 30 members. Do we know the professions of these people? Do we, of all the members, do we know the age average that we have? Do we have some sort of understanding what makes this club unique and what's the starting point? And in some clubs, there is a lot of engineers. So that club is unique because it has resources to planning and building infrastructure projects better than other projects. So that's the first step that we need to understand. And of course, you can go to the Rotary, to my Rotary, as explained in the previous sessions, and get all the data and the statistics and understand how many members you had in the past. And I remember Boquete, when John mentioned, they started with 20 members. I'm glad to know that there are close to 40. Then something that is very easy to say, but very hard to achieve is define a joint vision. What do we want to see? Where do we want to see the club? And this is very hard in most of the clubs because talking about the size of the club, last time that we did our strategic planning in our club, Club Pacifico in Panama, which is a result of a merge of 2 clubs, we had a hard discussion. Do we want to be a 80 members club or 100 member clubs, or we want to keep in 50? What's the right size of the club? What's the vision of this club? What we want to be? Are we want to be a club focused on education, which is a main issue in Panama, the quality of the education, or we want to be a club that is going to put all the resources or most of the resources in environmental projects, which is now is one of the 7 areas of focus in Rotary. So this discussion about where we want to be is very important, because if we don't have a joint vision, then we cannot prioritize the strategic projects where we want to put the money. So one thing leads to the other one. First where we are, what are the resources, what are the capabilities, then where we want to be, and then step 3, prioritize the strategic project. And by prioritizing, what it means is where are we going to have the greatest impact on the community and on achieving the plan. And this is also very important. I'm saw in the past some clubs that say, well, we have 10 strategic projects. No, 10 strategic projects cannot be real for a small or medium-sized club. You really have to focus and decide it. Once you have a vision, okay, then to achieve that vision, we need to have the defined projects that are strategic for the club. And then step 4 is the follow-up process. It's a very common mistake, not only in Rotary, in most of the organizations, that we don't follow up. We don't establish metrics. We don't establish milestones. We don't have metrics or milestones, and we don't do follow-up. We don't know if we're achieving, and then we don't know how to correct members in order to keep achieving those goals. So this is also very important on the process. So let's go a little bit deep inside on these top 4 years. One thing that is very important, and this is also another common mistake that we have in all organizations. The strategic plan needs to be put together with the participation, of course, of the acting president and acting board of directors and the proposed president. And hopefully, if your club has planned in advance and you already have the next president, the next 2 presidents appointed, the next 2 should be participating on the plan, because we cannot have a different plan, a different priority every month, every year. And also that is very important, another suggestion is please review the plan and keep adjusting the plan to the reality. Imagine what happened to the strategic Rotary plans that were put together on year 2018, 19, and then on 20, we have the COVID. All clubs were forced to adjust their plan. So understanding the current situation of the club on the two core values or the two core measurements that Rotary is focusing. One is membership, and the other one is Rotary Foundation. So I'd like to ask Sharon. Sharon, can you help us understanding why it's very important to measure the number of members under 40 years in the clubs? Or Faride, can you help me with that?
Hello, the percentage of members under 40 years is very important because we need to guarantee the continuation of our clubs. So we need to make sure that we have young people involved. And it's just adds a very good dynamic to the clubs, you know, having different age groups in the clubs. And now that people can be Rotarians even under 30 years of age, not like in the past, it's even more so important that we diversify in this, in having people under 40.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I saw the statistics the other day. I think for the district 40 to 40 and the average age, it was close to 60 years, I guess. But really worries me because it means that we have still a big gap in our district to keep bringing more young people to be the ones who is going to stay taking the clubs further on. Okay, also, it's very important, the Rotary Foundation contributions. Why it's very important? Because it's our financial arm, it's our worldwide organization that keeps supporting us and all other of the contributions. One of the things that is very important, the Rotary Foundation is not only Polio Plus. There is different funds, and I'm sure on the Rotary Foundation speaker of this seminar or in any other of the presentations, you'll see that there's different ways to contribute to the Rotary Foundation. So it's very important when you are doing the strategic planning to go into the Rotary Central or My Rotary and find out what has been the statistics of money that your club has donated or your members have donated, and also how much money are you getting out of the foundation. Every time we do this exercise, for most of the clubs, is always a ratio of 1 to 3, 1 to 4. For every dollar that we send to the Rotary Foundation, we have been able to get $3 back to the district, and then some clubs, the ratio is 1 to 10. For each dollar that we have donated, we have received from the foundation through the global grants and through designated district funds, a lot of money. And those clubs that are not doing that is because they have not focused on setting up projects and asking for global grants. Okay, so when we start making the analysis of the current situation of the club and trying to understand where we are, we always talk about this scope of understanding of methodology to understand where was our strengths there, where we need to improve. So I'm going to show this little video too.
Both organizations and individuals use a SWOT, or strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threats analysis, as a jumping off point for new projects and improvement initiatives. It's a way of analyzing the internal and external factors that will impact a product, project, place, or person. Because the SWOT framework uncovers opportunities for success and highlights threats, it's a powerful method for decision-making when starting a new venture. SWOT can help businesses identify a new market niche, for instance, or help individuals plan career success by maximizing strengths and highlighting threats that might inhibit achievement. Think of SWOT as a framework and method. SWOT analysis is usually executed with a SWOT matrix, a square divided into 4 quadrants that represent each element. Various tools exist to help entities complete SWOT analysis or fill out a SWOT matrix, and usually involve asking questions under each category, such as, what do you do better than anyone else? What market trends could increase sales? And where do your competitors have a market advantage? SWOT analysis provides a visual and dynamic representation of the factors most likely to impact a new initiative, but it has limitations. For example, it might exclude relevant factors and it might represent skewed perspectives. SWOT analysis also only accounts for one point in time, so it has a limited shelf life. For a more complete breakdown, businesses often turn to gap analysis tools and methods, such as the McKinsey 7S framework and the Nadler-Tushman model.
Okay, so before moving into this, I'd like to open the forum a little bit about this methodology, and I'd like to hear what you think is the strengths that we have in our districts as a joint club district, a group of clubs, or as a individual member. So any volunteer that can tell me what you think are the strengths of Rotary? And also what opportunities do we have in our districts? I not like to pinpoint anybody, so if any volunteer, please.
I think one of our strengths is our members and our new and young members with new ideas. So I guess add to our clubs, to our respective clubs.
Thank you.
I was going to say reputation. We have 95 years experience in Costa Rica, and with the #1 NGO in the world that got the prize. So I think that's one of our better strengths.
Thank you, Sylvia. Good to see you. Anybody else?
I think the Rotary brand. Rotary is a very well-known organization worldwide. So any member being part of that organization is already seen as a part of a successful organization or brand.
Thanks, Ray. Yeah. How about the opportunities? Is there opportunities there for us? There's things
I think that there's definitely opportunity. We get a lot of networking, and we have a lot of professionals that we can learn from and perfect our skills. So there's definitely opportunity for Rotary.
Thanks, Tanya. I'll also like to add to what Tanya just said, that I think a big opportunity that we are as Rotarians, at least in our district, I cannot take by other district, are missing is the alliances. This today world is a world of alliances. And we have a lot of others ONG that have more resources than us that need more hands to carry on projects like the United Nations agencies, the UNDP, the FAO. They are working, they are here in the region, they have some money available, but they need people to do that. So I think one of the biggest opportunities that we have is to improve our ability to really create alliances with other organizations in order to get more resources, and then we can carry out our vision and mission of serving in different projects. And I like to motivate all of you to start thinking on the region, getting in contact with all these international agencies, not only United Nations, there's a lot of European community organizations providing funds on the region. So let's move on this exercise of creating a joint vision of the club. And with this simple statement, what I like to see is that when we start talking about joint vision, we should have some sort of statement. At the end of the exercise, we should have something like, you can say it in our club, we want to achieve this 3 to 5 goals of the year through this strategic actions and through this specific work plan. This is a simple way of having a joint vision. So I like also to ask the forum a good example of your club. Do you think your club has a joint vision, or at least an area of where the club wants to focus? Who want to comment on that? Do you feel that you have that joint vision in your club? Any volunteers, please? Don't be afraid to say no, because it's very common that we don't have it.
We do.
Yes, Sylvia.
We're working on getting the exemption so we can get more donations, corporate donations, that they can deduct as expenses. Locally, that's attractive. If we have foreign members, then it is not relevant, but we've been working on that. This is about the third year. We have not achieved it, but we do have a 3-year plan.
Okay, Sylvia.
Jose, I think that one of the biggest issues with the vision of a club is like it's a moving target. It's not something that is static. So when you have the 3 to 5 year goal and you decide you're going to get to whatever membership, when you're halfway there, either you have overachieved it or underachieved it. So how much do you need to update that vision? It's a tricky situation because every year, the other thing is we're not like the government that every year there's a new leader, then it's a new vision. It's the vision, the concept of a vision is trying to continue the different initiatives that we have started in the club. However, I have participated in a couple of strategic planning efforts with our clubs, and it's the most tricky part is not getting the vision done. Is being consistent on that the vision is the one that we should keep track and trying to update it every now and then.
Thanks. I think it was Mario, right?
Yeah, that's me.
I recognize your voice because I'm not seeing the screens. Thanks, Mario. Yeah, no, Mario, that's very important because it is true, and it's true not only for Rotary, it's true for any organization. The market is there, it's changing, the environment is changing, and also we in Rotary, we have another thing that we have to keep in mind. Our membership keeps being changing and refreshing, and some people leave and come in. So it's a moving target. Having a strategic plan and goals and vision is a moving target. But the important is that our goal and the organization vision is one that has been set up by Rotary. And then we implement that vision based on a reality of where we are working. I always say Rotary is putting a lot of effort on literacy programs. Well, in Panama, we're lucky that we don't have a literacy problem in most areas of the country, only in the indigenous part, where a small part of the population. But we do have a big problem on the quality of the education, the public education system. So it doesn't mean that we're not focusing on what Rotary is saying, it's just that we adapt that, that vision to the reality of the country. Okay, let's move on and how to prioritize strategic projects. And this is the key questions that we have to answer in order to really understand how to prioritize strategic projects. One is, what are the most important projects we need to do in the club to fulfill our vision? Okay, let's keep following the example of my club. If we have decided that improving the quality of the education is important for Panama, then we have to focus on the 2 or 3 projects that we're going to do in order to achieve that. Then for any strategic project, we have to answer how we will measure the success of that project, what it will be required to execute the project, and 3, who will be responsible for the project. So let's like to see what's from any of the members. Tell me what you think is a strategic project for your club, and why, and how you're going to why you decide it's strategic and how you're measuring. Any volunteer, please, to share what's one of the most strategic projects in your club? Only one, not all at the same time, please. Hello.
Jose, I can try to answer that for you from Corzal Lee's. For us, we have a new project that we're trying to put together for a prosthetic program. And we're actually measuring the steps we need to put in place to roll it out, the training we have to have from the prosthetic people to get us organized for what we have to do, the locations and everything else. So we're actually putting together those actual steps that it's going to take to get us to the achievement of getting the goal of getting it rolled out. I hope that answers that.
Yes, yes, definitely. Thanks very much. This is it's just an example of how we should focus on the projects, because we cannot focus in everything in our clubs. We don't have not enough members and not enough money to do that. Okay, the follow-on processes. This is very important. From top to down, Rotary is always focused on measuring two major core goals. One is the membership goal, and the other one is the contributions to the Rotary Foundation. Those are the two major core goals that Rotary, and I'm pretty sure you're gonna receive, or you already received from the incoming governor on your district, the specific targets on membership. But membership is not only please don't focus only on the number of Rotary or the number of new members. It's very important to have a plan in place to balance the mix between the different ages, different professions, gender, and everything. That's very important, and that's where's the challenge. Having 2 or 3 or 4 new members in a year is not that hard. Retaining the current members that we have is a more challenging action, and it's very important. When we talk about membership, we are not talking only about growing new members. We're talking about retaining the current members. Make sure they're happy, they are engaged, they are participating, but also planning what new members do we need. Are we work on water projects? So we may need engineers or somebody with that expertise. And of course, doing a lot of follow on the Rotary foundations, the contribution to the annual fund, contribution to Polyplus. It's also very important. Happy members. This is something that it's something that we need to be very clear in this. The follow-up process includes to set up some that we call proactive goals. What do we mean with this? On the strategic plan, we should include very specific indexes or statistics in order to make sure that we achieve something we call that I call the member satisfaction index. Like in any other organization where we do this organization climate surveys and so on, that we understand how our employees are doing, this is something that we cannot forget on Rotary. We should focus on making sure that our members are happy. And happy members for us means, or satisfied, means that the club is doing the activities that really improve the member participation. And I have an example from Panama. We had a project for many years. We had a project on working with the people who has been sentenced for any criminal activities. And there was a lot of members of my club that says, I don't want to work with people that is in a jail. Ask me to work with people that is in the hospital or schools or kids. But there were some other people who, yes, they were involved in that. So let's try to have activities that match the interests of all the members and having this participation index. And this is very easy to measure and calculate. You had 20 members and you called for a school renovation project and only 5 participate on that, but you only have 25% participation index on that project. So you can go and measure and combine them. Something that is very important is realizing what's the return that I'm getting out of Rotary. And this is not measured on money like in a private company. This is very tricky, but I think it's a very important concept. If I keep going to the meetings, if I do participate, if I donate money, I get engaged and promote projects. I contact people in other countries to support us. I go to private companies to be corporate members. Those things are really providing value to me, or I'm only coming to the club because I want to go to a weekly meeting. This is very important, trying to understand if what we're doing is really generating value for the members. And if not, trying to understand why. Not to forget the Rotary instruction. Rotary is a very well-structured organization. There's a lot of manuals, materials, learning centers. There's a lot of mentors in the clubs that we can assign to new members so they can really understand. And making sure that the members really have the knowledge of what's the Rotary philosophy. What's the mission? What's the value? What are we doing? What we're not doing? This is very important to make sure that the strategic plan also take in consideration. Okay, as Mario mentioned in one of his interventions, or somebody else mentioned, communicating the goals is something that has to be done every week if possible. The people we need to make sure that the people understand what we're working, what we're targeting, what we're trying to achieve. Also, trying to put in some value on understanding what is at stake and what's the benefit of that we and the community want to achieve when we achieve them. In the previous presentation, there was a discussion about the dashboard, having the key indicators and having a dashboard that tell us if we are achieving or not on time the goals and what to do and make it the corrections. It's a moving target, as Mario says, but it's very important. Also to recognize when we achieve the goals. It's not only to achieving the goals, but it's also to making the proper recognition to those who have contributed. And for clubs that have not, or members that have not been, that are new or have not been participating, the best way to help them is to assign a Rotary mentor, somebody who really can follow on and explain all the philosophy and what are we looking for. So I hope that Norma is going to have a mentor very soon. Because it's just a new member. So some final ideas. The plan needs to be, like any plan, has to be updated regularly. It's very important that we ensure that all members understand and supports those actions that actually was included in the strategic plan. The strategic plan is being led by the club, president and board of directors, but it's in the strategic plan of the club, not of the board of the members. So if you have a strategic plan that did not include all members' opinion and engagement, is going to be very low. So it's very, very important that we make sure that all members understand everything on the strategic plan. Then working on the alignment of the club activities with the strategic plan is also very important. If we're focusing on 2 or 3 areas, then we should take care that all get speakers and all activities that we're planning get aligned to this. We cannot say we want to do this, but then we're not focusing on that. Accountability, like in any organization, is very important. Yes, Rotary is an organization of volunteers, but as I always said in Spanish, that's like we said in English, the only volunteer activity is when you decide to join Rotary. Once you join Rotary and you accept a specific responsibility, is not an option to achieve that, to perform and achieve those goals. When we accept, we're committed. So having accountability is very important. The strategic plan is something that we approve and decide to do, and then we're accountable to complete and comply with that. Very important to keep the new president, incoming president, or maybe the next 2 incoming presidents link and participating. And remember, the results of the club are the sum of the results of its members. There's no, this is like an orchestra or a band. When either the band sounds good or bad, It's not that the guy at the piano or the guy at the trombone is doing good or bad. So with this, I finish my presentation and like to see if there's any question or comments that you wanna ask, please. Okay, then if there's no questions, just remember that all this information and forms and videos is in the Rotary site. Please make sure you have your My Rotary account and looking for the information. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Past President Jose Alberto, for this great presentation on the importance of strategic planning. And like you said, the results of the club are the sum of the results of its members. Now, I would like to ask Carolina, our district governor-elect, to present a token of appreciation to you.
Thank you very much, Jose Alberto. It was so clear and so good, the presentation for the strategic plan, that I think is very important for our clubs. So thank you very much for this outstanding presentation. And I will read the diploma. The 4250 district award the following certificate to Jose Alberto LISAC for his participation in the President-elect Training Seminar 2022 with his presentation Strategic Planning for Rotary Club, signed by our District Governor Victor Manuel, the District Instructor Mario Lopez, and myself. Thank you very much, Jose Alberto.